Thank you so much for being here. Well, I really am very honored that you're here. And you know, guys, ladies, definitely I want you to notice something. The higher evolved beings of the world are now here. Look around. Look at all these men. Look at all these men. Now, you've been to many of these spiritual healing seminars. How many men you see usually? Not like this. And you know why? This makes sense. It's user-friendly, and it works. I don't know about you, I just like something that works. And I'm ready to cut the fluff and get to the stuff. Let's make some changes. So I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a really amazing seminar. For most of you, one of you probably won't be so good. You know who you are, don't you? It is interesting, you know, when I do these seminars, especially any type of these healing seminars, especially, I mean, if you go to a seminar and the stuff really doesn't work, it's not so scary. You know what I'm saying? It's not so scary if it doesn't work. You know, you can go put rocks on your head or just, you know, read cards or smell oil. But we're going to where the real deal is. We're going inside you, and this is where the problem is. And that's what we're after. You know, because I honestly believe that, you know, you've had bad stuff happen to you. Once is enough. Go and clean it up and never re-experience it again. So it's about pain, how pain works, and how emotions work. How your mind actually is a very powerful machine that manifests and produces what you hold inside you. And that's the key. What's inside you and knowing how to change you. Because, you know, I don't know, I know many people, just like what April was sharing, she's tried a lot of things. Haven't you? Yeah. And you may get some relief, some temporary diversion, but what we do with what I teach, eutaptics, FasterEFT, and we test everything. Because, you know, I don't know about you, I just want it done. I want to help you understand that you are very powerful. You are the one who's creating your problem right now. Now, I know some of you, I already know what you've been doing before you got here. You bought your ticket, you're flying, and you're not thinking about how wonderful it's going to be, you're worrying about how sick you're going to be. Isn't that right? You think about how sick you're going to be, and oh my God, how am I going to stand all those hours listening to this boring lecture? Like all the board meetings, boring meetings. Listen, this weekend will be gone before you know it. And I want you to look around. I want you to look at these individuals today. I want you to look around, because by the time we get to Sunday evening, you're going to look different. You're going to feel different. And you'll act different. Now, the problem is that you have to take ownership of your own emotional health and well-being. Listen, it's you. It's all you. If you get this one simple concept, this one simple idea, realizing it's me doing it to me. I remember this lady, she's an interesting writer, and she went and booked her hotel, and she has severe reactions to chemicals, chemical sensitivity. And of course, you know, always in hotels, they oftentimes will have scents. Now, by the way, when I walked in this hotel, I don't know if you smelt it too, the sweet aroma of your childhood, your mom and dad smoking, right? I walked in and go, God, this stinks. But you know what? I didn't give much thought about it. So she walked into this hotel room and she smelt strawberries. And she started to have a physical reaction to fake scent of strawberries. And she started to get sick. And then all of a sudden she realized the girl had a bowl of strawberries and she was eating real strawberries. And it wasn't even a fake scent. It was her own unconscious mind using her past experiences to make her feel bad. Because, see, there is something going on inside you that I want to help you know. You know, I don't know about you, I've tried a lot of things, you know, in the beginning days, you know, of course, you know, I don't know about you, I've tried a lot of things, you know, in the beginning days, you know, of course, my mother at 14 crawled out of the house, hitchhiked to Texas, Brownsville, Texas. And she got pregnant, came back home, gave birth to a little boy. So, I'm a bastard child in a Christian family. My grandmother, she's one of those she's 90 years old. She still reads the Bible. She still goes to church services. She's doing yoga now, and she's doing all these things. By the way, yoga back in those days was a sin, but now it's not a sin now. So go figure that one out. And she wears pants. Back in the church days, pants in church was a sin. So go figure. Sin does change over time. So anyway, so here it is. I tried everything, and I moved in with my grandmother at 14 because I went to my aunt's house and I discovered something, because I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My stepdad, my only dad I've ever known, he's the oldest of 9, and he met my mother when I was 6 months old. So he's dad, that's my dad. Well, being his dad was an alcoholic, his mother was the type to marry alcoholics. All right? So he was an angry dad. He had 4 hoodlums. By the time my mother reached 19, she had 4 kids. I think only 2 of them were his. And so he was an angry, frustrated, hardworking man. He came home to his hoodlums, he called us. He would yell at us. He'd hit us. And, there's so many triggers I cleaned up in my head in my world, laughing children, talking in the car, whack. So my dad was an angry person. But you know what? Here's the interesting thing about my dad. My dad did what my dad did. He couldn't do anything else. That's all he knew. So at 14, I moved in with my grandmother. And that's when I started having nightmares, because I didn't know life could be any better. But when I was in Louisiana with my aunt and uncle, I realized something. He was quiet. I wasn't scared. I wasn't afraid of being beaten. That's when my life actually started to change. I made a decision, went back to home. Mom, I don't want to live here anymore. I want to go to Louisiana. Well, she said I couldn't. So my life began to change when I moved in with my grandmother. Now, I'm the oldest of 6. Now, just imagine, I got 4 brothers staying with me in the same room, and now I have my own room. I have my own phone. I started having nightmares of my father, nightmares of I killed him in my mind. I didn't actually see it, but I felt like I killed him and buried him in the woods. And the old lady I didn't even know, because my brain was trying to tell me I was healing in some way, but I didn't know that. I believed my dreams. And you've done it too, haven't you? Woke up, your heart's pounding through your chest, you're sweating, and you're thinking, oh, it can't be true, it can't be true. But it felt so real. Now, this part of the mind is one I want you to know. This one piece in how it actually works. Because if you know how to drive your own brain better than you can drive your own car, how much better can your life be? Doesn't that make sense to you? The problem is you don't even know yourself. And I don't know about you, my grandma was very tricky. She's a very smart woman, I'd have to admit. She said, I'm 15 years old now, and, of course, I'm having these nightmares, and I'm trying to heal myself. I'm trying to work on some of this stuff, and so I found this psychology encyclopedia set, and I said, will you buy this for me? And she did, and I started reading, and there's this one section in it I discovered at 15, erogenous zones. You know what those are, right? Well, the curious man, the boy that I was, I found a book at a used bookstore, Your Erogenous Zones. I took it home. I started reading it and come to find out it had nothing to do what I thought it was about. It was Wayne Dyer's Your Erroneous Zones. But the interesting thing, I read the book, and it shifted some of my perceptions. And of course, like I said, my grandmother was very smart, and she bribed me because, here it is, she had this 1974 Gran Torino baby blue 4-door car. And of course, I wanted to learn how to drive. She said, I'll let you drive. Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. Church night. So now I was introduced to church. Now, my grandmother always, I remember when she'd pick all us kids up, and she'd have stories about our life, you know. She said she'd pick us up, we're hungry, we're starving, we all got diaper rash, and we're all dirty, you know. And, of course, she would feed us a lot. And we would just eat a lot. And at night, we were sick because we ate too much. And she'd lay hands on us and pray and telling me, God has a purpose for your life. She's told me that many times. She said when I was a baby, she dedicated me to God. And so I just recently went and visited Grandma, and she's my mother. She was 34 years old when I was born. And she says, you know, Robert, God's waiting on you. He's ready for you to come back. I said, listen, Grandma, God's working for me now. We're getting stuff done. Because I understood when I reading the Bible when I was 15 years old, I wasn't a good reader. And this is not about Bible. This is just my story, okay? And I started looking at this. I doing what they said, and it wasn't working. I crying, I pleading, and it wasn't working. And I thought, well, I'm going to read the book because for some reason these guys don't have it right. And I kept looking at that book. That book really changed when I read a book. And the book was Mind Power. The book, that wasn't it. Mind Works, that's the book. And I read the book, and it was about the mechanics of thoughts. How your brain actually processes information. Now, the weird thing is, science is proving this, you know. Showing that the mind does process memories in 4 or 5 different ways. And the interesting thing is, I was wanting to know how to solve my problems, and I became a student because I watched her study and write notes. And I tried just about everything. You know, I didn't go through the big vagina and fell into the swimming pool. You ever heard of that one? Yes. Rebirthing therapy. Yeah, beating furniture, I never did that. But I tried a lot of things. And so I began to search and try to find what actually does work. And what you're going to get this weekend, this 4 days, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover how your brain works. I'm going to show you how and why you're successfully sick. Congratulations. I'm going to show you how you're successfully miserable and how your life sucks in such a grand way. Because if you can do that, what else could you do but better? Because see, the truth is, you're just a little robot. You're a little trance monkey, I would call you. You're doing what you do and you don't even know why you do it. You're thinking, you're manifesting, you're creating from something you don't want and wonder why you keep getting it. You're acting just like your parents. You're acting just like the one that you hate. The one you would never want to be like, but you have memories, billions of them floating around inside your head. And of course, don't ask your children who you act like. You'll get mad at them. Isn't that right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to your mind. So this is my game plan, okay? This is my game plan. I'm going to try to do this a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover about how the mind works. And I did have some people write in and give me their list of problems, pains, etc. And so my goal is I'm going to pull people up and I'm going to address physical stuff, emotional stuff, whatever it is. All right? Another thing that I want to do is I'm going to have what you call class. Should I call them guinea pigs? How about class demonstrations? Yes. So I'm going to, and if you send in a list to me, or if you don't have a list, or maybe you would like to be on there, now I will pull different people up other than the 3 or 4 people I'll pick. The next 4 days, I'm going to be addressing a lot of stuff. The most important thing for you, as you are in your seat in this room, own your own stuff. Because again, I talk, you sit in front of a TV, you hear stories of other people's stories, and you feel bad. A TV is just dots on a screen. It doesn't know you. Why are you getting upset? And the whole reason is because your own inner world. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you clean up your inner world. Now let me remind you too, this is a journey. And I believe making this journey as fast as you can, because the truth is, I know the facts. The fact is, you won. There was a bang, a spark in your mother or your father's eye. You were amongst, 50,000 sperms winning to the egg? And you won. That was a tough race. 9 months later, you won again. You're born. You're born into an environment. And this environment will educate you, impact you, change you, give you your value system, and then the next end of the race, you're going to die. I just feel that in my bones. I know it. So between birth and death, how much fun or how much pain and misery do you want? That's a decision you're all going to have to make today. Because the truth is that I teach a tapping process, and my system is about this much tapping and this much how your mind works. And if you don't know how to drive the most important part of yourself, that part of yourself is going to make you act weird, haven't it? Haven't you been doing it? You've been acting pretty weird. I've seen you. You've done some really strange things, and you're shaking your head, why do I keep doing this? And the reason is because you don't know you. And a lot of those spiritual healers and teachers and all this stuff, and they say, know thyself. How in the hell do you do that? There's no book when you were born. There was no instructions on how it worked. But we do have one. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, and Level 4, eutaptics, FasterEFT. This is the mechanics of how it works. You get the changes for free on YouTube. What if you really knew what was going on inside there? It's amazing. Because, we had somebody come in, and this one woman I was working with, she's from Canada. She had a birth of a child, and next thing you know, she got this horrible OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And I said, you don't have OCD. You have OCS, obsessive compulsive skill. She goes, what? I said, you're doing it right. What are you doing? And so she spent over $35,000 on therapies, and it's gotten worse. And I said, listen, I'll give you 20 hours, and it's cost you $10,000. And I guarantee when we're done, you'll be licking a doorknob. She couldn't even touch a doorknob. She licked a doorknob. And I said, send me a picture. She said, no, I'm not sending you a picture of me licking a doorknob. Because she couldn't touch it. She couldn't do it. She was trapped in her little home. But so let's look at you. Why are you so successful at being miserable? Why are you successful at it? What is the cause here?